Distance is your friend. Moving away from the threat, you have increased space, which buys you time, which buys you more tactical options. Steve Tarani. This is a post I made this morning on the Survive and Defend and Enjoy Life Safely sites. Steve Tarani's statement that distance is your friend is right on point. It encapsulates a crucial principle in self-defense and tactical awareness. By creating space between oneself and a potential threat, a dynamic advantage is gained. The physical gap acts as a buffer, offering valuable time to assess the situation and formulate strategic responses. This extra time is like a tool that helps you make better choices in how to respond. Having distance gives you more options to stay safe. So according to Tarani, the greater the distance, the greater your options. Therefore, keeping some distance from threats isn't just physical space, it's a smart move that gives you more control and better chances of staying out of harm's way. That's what we're going to talk about a little bit on Coffee with Alain this morning. I have a mug here. You can see Tokyo and New York and London. I've been to Tokyo, been to New York, need to go to London. Those are all pretty far from me, and that's what we're talking about, distance this morning. So I thought that was an appropriate cup to be drinking out of. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Vicky. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate everybody that shows up and comments or watches the replay, listens to the podcast. Those numbers keep going up. Please get out there, share it, get this around, help more and more people learn to be safe and enjoy life, because that's what we're about here. So thank you to everyone. I say it all the time because I really mean it. I do appreciate everybody that listens and follows, comments, and shares. That's what I do this for, trying to help more and more people enjoy life safely. Make sure you go to that website, enjoylifesafely.com. Get that newsletter. It has stuff to help you as well. Now let's talk a little bit about distance. It's such an important principle, and it will help you with your tactics and strategy. What do they teach active shooters? Run, hide, fight, run. When they're teaching run, what are they trying to do? Get distance from the shooter. In my courses that I do through Reflex Protect and in the book that I wrote, I don't like to just run blindly. I want to escape, and I want to escape the danger. Get off the X, and if you can create distance between you and the active threat, that's buying you time, getting you to safety. So running is one way to do it. Diving on the ground and crawling away and getting distance is one way to do it. Going out the window, but all of them relate to putting distance between you and the killer, which makes it more difficult for him to harm you, keeps you safer, and gets you completely out of the kill zone off to safety. So very important concept, creating distance. So that's one aspect where distance between you and the threat is tactically sound and beneficial and can keep you safe. Want to say good morning to John. Appreciate you being here and saying hello. There are other things that we can do with distance. One very sound principle, somebody all of a sudden surprises you, you're ambushed, whatever, you're caught a little off guard, and it can happen to anyone, even those with the best situational awareness. Things can happen. So boom, all of a sudden I'm caught off guard and this guy's right there on me. I hit him with an open palm, maybe face smash. Maybe it's just a push in the chest, but I'm striking and I'm backing up, creating distance between us. That will allow me to assess the situation, maybe draw a weapon, maybe turn and run, creating even more distance and getting out of the area. But by that smash, backing up, creating the distance to deploy a different weapon, to assess the situation, to see what needs to be done, it's gained me an advantage rather than staying right in contact with the person. So there are times where staying in contact with the person might be beneficial. You're an infighter, you can do some damage, but by creating the distance, it allows you some more options. And never fight empty-handed if you can create distance and then arm yourself, either with a weapon that you're carrying or something improvised or nearby. So we only fight empty-handed when we absolutely have to, because it's always going to be better to use a tool to help defend ourselves. I remember years ago, one of the first times I met Mark McYoung, and this would have been in the early 90s. And he signed one of his books for me. And it was a book he had on weapons. And he signed it, "You're not an ape, use a tool." Sound strategy. We don't fight empty-handed unless we have to. And we can have a tactical or a strategy and use the tactics to create distance, draw a weapon, grab an improvised weapon. You know, maybe it's like, oh, boom, I hit him, I back up, I grab the fire extinguisher off the wall and blast him with that and then smash him in the head with it if I don't have a weapon on my person to draw for whatever reason. But those are just some ways that that distance can help you. Now, when we get into timing and distance for sport competition, that's a complete different kind of thing. I'm not going to go into that this morning, but it's also important for those arenas. Timing, distance, so important for different, both self-defense and competitive, combative sports, whatever that sport may be. But the emphasis I wanted to do this morning was creating distance to either get to safety or creating distance to get to a weapon to better defend yourself. Going to say good morning to Dixon. Dixon says, my instructor had a saying, engage, i.e. be right on top of your attacker, or get yourself in the next county ASAP. That's the way to do it. Take him out or get the heck out of there, or do both. Hit him hard, it puts him down, and then get into the next county. Steven's here. I want to say good morning to him. Steven says, attack the attacker, like you were saying. All sound principles and tactics. I mean, both Dixon and Steven are martial artist friends of mine, and they're both saying the same thing. You know, you attack the attacker, or then you get out of there. One or the other. You don't want to play around in the middle, because that's where you get squashed. I mean, that was a lesson Mr. Miyagi taught us. Remember, you right side you're okay, left side you're okay. You wobble in the middle, you get squashed like a grape. So we're going to attack hard, or we're going to escape, create the distance. But creating the distance can give us a tactical advantage, because it can create some options that we might not have when we're up close and personal. So that's what I wanted to really stress this morning. Steven says, a few weeks ago, I had a class, what if? Was if in the close quarters, like the restaurant bathroom, if not a busy bathroom, don't turn your back. If in a commode standing, go into lock stall. Do you agree? I do agree, Stephen. The safest place to go in a restroom, a public restroom, is into a stall and lock the door behind you while you're doing your business, because you are vulnerable when your pants are unzipped and at a urinal. Somebody could come in behind you before you have a chance to do anything. They smash you in your head into the wall and so forth. That happens. So the safest place is to go into a stall where you can close the door. Now, do we always do that? No. You have to assess where you're at and what the threat and likelihood of an ambush attack would be in that restroom. Most of the time, we're in places where it's very unlikely. However, in my past, I used to frequent some places where it could be likely to be attacked or ambushed in a bathroom. And then you want to take some extra precautions. And Steven says, yeah, and laughs. It's always going to be dependent on who we are, the circumstances we're in, the location, and the threat level. Okay. When I was down at the SHOT Show, I mean, there were long lines to the bathroom sometimes, right? And so even for the men, there were probably less lines for the ladies because I think the SHOT Show had way more men attending than women, even though there were a lot of women there too. The likelihood of being assaulted in one of those restrooms, very, very low. Okay. So you're going to use the urinal and not worry about it too much. But again, other places, other situations, it may be safer to go into a stall. Steven says, SHOT Show, safest place on earth. Probably was, like I said, well, I saw fights while I was in Vegas. Didn't see anything bad happen during the show or on the show premises, but there was pretty good security there. And most of the people there were in the security, law enforcement, tons of that kind of business, and aren't going to be creating trouble. Really great show. Anyway, the main lesson this morning, distance is your friend when it comes to safety and self-defense. The farther away you are from a threat, the less likely they can hurt you. So creating that distance creates safety. It also creates time and opportunities to assess what you need to do next. So that's just a little safety tip today. Hope you share this message around. Get it to people that need it. Go out. Make it a wonderful Wednesday. I'm going to say goodbye to John. John says, thanks as always for the tips. You are very welcome, John. Appreciate you being here and commenting. Make it a wonderful Wednesday, everyone, and we will see you tomorrow.